Boom! According to that, I am live. I'm suddenly worried. Do I have my sound set up correctly? I think I do. So this is on a totally new setup. As you might have seen from some of the after party setups, this is a Mac Mini. I still have my desktop PC, but it doesn't have Windows 11 updates coming. So it seemed like a good idea to, well, you know what? It was partly just I've always been interested in getting a Mac, and partly I also, let me turn off my name on the thing because that looks a bit weird. Yeah, we don't need that. And also, yeah, actually, I work with AI. When I saw the Claude bot thing and everybody in America that Mac Minis were sold out and they were available on sale in Japan, and so I grabbed one. I thought it'd be fun to play around with, and I actually liked it so much that I have actually added 2 terabytes of SSD storage, and I've had a lot of fun setting it up. So also the thing about having all of my music available on the computer meant that my DJ software works now a lot better. I can manage my library from within the computer, which means I can capture the screen of my lives. As you've seen, I can DJ actually capturing from my screen, not having to do an overhead webcam, which looks a lot better. So having a lot of fun with all those things. I'm actually finding already I have both computers turned on at the moment because the Mac Mini I can only use 2 screens, whereas with the desktop I can use 3. So I've got the 3rd screen being used by the PC at the moment. But yeah, I'm digging the Mac actually much more than I was expecting to. So, but as a result, this is the first time doing a Tokyo Tonight from the Mac. So I had to figure out the camera, even though the look and everything is the same. And this is a good thing about using cloud-based, rather than installed software. StreamYard is great because it just means I just figure out, I have to make everything fit in the same slots, but it's still no new software or anything like that, and it looks and feels the same. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Hope you guys are all doing well. We had a beautiful day in Tokyo today. It was like 18, 19 degrees Celsius, which is unseasonably warm. It was like mid-spring type weather. So we've had some cold, including some snow recently. So, but it was such a nice sunny day. I went out for a run while I was doing my laundry. I went out and I actually ran 15 kilometers. I ran all through Tokyo. I actually, because so many people have been asking me, get around to making that running video, especially Yoni and some others. I actually am planning now. Well, I've been running inside on treadmills, but now that I am running outside again, I am going to record short videos explaining little tips and insights I've gotten from running over the years. And I'm still learning a bunch at the moment, but I did a little bit of I recorded as I was going today, just talking about running around in Tokyo. So that video is already recorded and edited, so I'll probably pop that up tomorrow. So you might enjoy watching me go around Tokyo and just talk about running as I go. So that was pretty good. But anyway, let's see who's in the comments here. We've got Potluck Sushi first, as pretty much as usual lately. You're like straight in there. I respect that. You've got looking for another Hiko Simon live stream. Looking good for another one. Well, that's right. It's a little bit late, but yes, technical issues. It's one thing, yeah, I've got to make sure I keep innovating with technical issues. And I think converting the actual computer and the operating system was a pretty good way to do it. Although, Sasuga Mac, it's working pretty nicely. Just not as good as your sushi connoisseur video from Narita to Adachi, Michelle in Star. Still, few people know sushi like you. Oh, so you got a channel. I should check out your channel, bro. And thank you for flagging it. So Potluck Sushi, yeah, we'll be there. There we go. Tooting your own horn there. Why not? Toot away, dude. Everybody go check out Potluck Sushi's channel. And thank you for checking in every week. I do appreciate it. We've got Yuri the Best coming in 3rd. Hope you're doing well there. Hope it's I heard it got really like insanely cold there, like minus 25 and stuff a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of sad in a way that I know Ukrainian news. I do follow every day. I follow Denis Davidoff, who covers everything going on there in English. But yeah. Hope that you're well. Hope you're getting some warmer weather over there, and I really appreciate you joining. Good to have you in here every week. You're the best. We've got Dan Ancient here. Finally came back from my losing streak to win this week's MASH. You're damn straight. You're damn rootin', tootin', rootin'. Yes. And it's funny because actually, while I'm getting pretty good, in many ways that software is actually easy to use. On the iPad, I can have 4 turntables, which I've gotten pretty good at using at the same time, which lets me mix more tracks and do fancier things. But I kept myself just to the 2 deck setup. And I kept it much simpler this week, and that seemed to work. So, Sonny, I got one back on you, but man, you've been killing me lately. And I don't know, I get the feeling people probably thought I was you. That might have been why I won, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. I've been getting my ass kicked lately, so it's nice. It's nice to get one back. It's always a lot of fun. That's right. I've got to pick a track this week as well. It's my turn. So, by the way, great choice, Forever Young by Alphaville. So thank you for the choice, DJ Sunny Side Up, and yes, thank you for noticing, Dan H. We've got Seb in here. Beautiful weather in Tokyo today. Yes, it was amazing. It was really, really great. It was a beautiful day to be outside. Got a little bit of sun. Not that you can really tell, but I got some sun, and it was nice. You can check out my Instagram. I took a photo in the middle of the run, and I'll post a video on it tomorrow. Especially I've been posting these running mixes of 150, 155 BPM, which are good speeds for running lightly when you're starting out. I was going for 185 today. The problem with that is that your legs, you start running like Fred Flintstone, driving a car or something like that, and it's really hard to keep your heart rate down, which the goal is to keep a low heart rate. But yeah, I was doing okay. DJ Sunny Side Up, 6th in the chat, and congrats to you. I mean, it was actually, and everybody who was voting said so. It was really, really close, so I was lucky. But yes, it gets discouraging. Well, not really. Honestly, do I really care? I care. Well, I care a little bit. I was saying, am I ever going to win one of these ever again? It was nice to win once in a while. It's nice to know that I can win. Even if I don't do it all the time, but you've been killing it, man. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying the fact that both of our mixes lately are both great quality. So that is a good thing. Nikkei Group just got a new head, Tsuyoshi Hasebe. I didn't know that. In the past, he was pushing for increased digitalization and to buy more foreign media companies to push for more influence internationally. Interesting. Yeah. Now, didn't Nikkei acquire British firm? I think they were doing that for a while. Digitalization, obviously. I mean, there's nothing else you can do to avoid that. And they are high quality news. I still do pay. I'm kind of lately questioning. I appreciate that Mainichi offers good RSS feeds which cover basic news, but still you do get what you pay for. You get deeper analysis with Nikkei, and they are pretty good. We got our moderator, Aaron, is in here. Traveler's Thread, good to have you in, like every week. And hit the like on your way in. Indeed, everybody, please remember to do it. I've got 22 people watching, which means there must be at least like 89 likes, hopefully. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody liking every week. Remember that we've got, she's got a cool new shield. I can't see that from the interface I've got on StreamYard, but I hope she does. She deserves it. Yeah, remember, I do not monetize these videos, which hurts discoverability, I think. But, you guys leaving comments and liking does help, especially if you're watching the recorded version of this. We got Lara in the chat. Great to see you in here. Hope you enjoyed the beautiful summer, not quite summer day. It was a kind of a spring day in Tokyo. I was wearing t-shirt, short sleeves outside for most of the day today. But Japan being Japan, people in Japan, they don't dress for the weather, they dress for the season. And everybody was still out in thick parkas and thick clothes and long coats and stuff like that, because that's what you're supposed to wear. They must have been dying. I was like warm even in a t-shirt outside. But I do respect people sticking to the dress code, which is what people definitely do here. Never-ending changes at YouTube. I'm sure I've noticed a lot of sites, including StreamYard and YouTube. I think AI is probably helping developers just make little tweaks and push things out faster, which I think is good to the extent that there's tons of stuff which YouTube took forever to fix, which now they're able to fix, I guess. But on the other hand, I also, maybe they're making a lot of changes that don't need to be made as well, but still pretty good. We got Tadom in here. Great to see you in here. Hope you're enjoying the mixes for the writing stuff. It's been fun making them. The mix last night was just over an hour long, but I mixed over 100 tracks in that, and it came out pretty well, and it was all at 155. So good if you're starting out jogging. I think it's a good mix for that. So do enjoy that, and thank you to Tadam for giving me. It's always good when you got a purpose. It's good having a goal or something, and thinking, oh, I've got to make a mix for Tadam. It's good. It got me as soon as I got the library all sorted out. I wanted to get in there and sort that out and make some mixes for you, and I'll make some more. So thank you for that. We got people just putting coffee on what I hope is not too cold of a Sunday morning there in Indiana. Oh yeah, Dan H came across a Happy Science, the ironically named Happy Science cult building in London yesterday, posing as a bookshop. I'm sure that they really were selling books, although they're probably also claiming tax exemptions on those sales. Happy Science, for what little I know about them, other than the fact that they are another cult, essentially, just like all the other cults, their leaflets and so on, which occasionally get published online, are unhinged. For something called Happy Science, they literally call for like genocide and nuclear war against China. They are literally a doomsday cult that calls themselves Happy Science. I'm sure they're lovely people, but that is their shtick. So there we go. They're everywhere, and who wouldn't want to? Who wouldn't want to join a religion called Happy Science, right? I mean, it's great marketing, although somewhat of a bait and switch there, I think. What else we got in here? We got no Panamanian coffee or Finnish Moi today. Indeed, I'm wondering, because especially the Finnish Moi. If you catch this, Yoni, I made your video. I made the first one, and it will be one of many. So, yes, I do want to make sure we've got that. Boom. Yes, people able to hear me. You got Sadiq in the chat. Great to have you in here. Congrats on the win. Yay, me. Thank you. You got Scrabblebees made it. Scrabblebees, great to see you. Love you right back, Scrabblebees. Who else we got? Mac Mini for the win. It says you're the best. One for building iOS apps and an older obsolete one that you have installed Linux on. They are so cheap. You can get them. The bottom spec one is about 70,000 yen in Japan. And they're still in stock here, which they're not in America. And I actually just love this because I already have iOS, iPhone devices and everything, and it goes really well with that. And I'm kind of tempted. I want to make some iOS apps. I've developed some apps using AI, which I must admit I'm tempted to publish. So that is which I'd love to do on iOS so I can use them. But I really do also want to set up an AI machine. I initially did it to install ClaudeBot, aka Moltbot, aka OpenClaw. And then I saw all the videos where people had all of their bank accounts hacked and, all of their, basically a complete disaster, security disaster, allowing these things to take over your computer. But there's no question that these AI agents, I use a version of something like Claude Code at work, and these things where you don't just talk to AI, but you actually use AI as a friend who will go do things for you in the background while you're doing other things. This age of agentic AI, where you say, go make me an iOS app that does this, and you just review it, and then you say, go publish it. That age is here, and it's nuts. They've been talking about agentic AI, and I didn't really get it, but ClaudeBot is so exciting. And as soon as it is safe enough to use, I want to use it. In fact, it might even be safe enough now. So that's what I'm following. And I might get another Mac Mini like you for that. We'll see. Who else we got in here? We got Believe. Did I miss Believe? I missed Believe. Believe, welcome in here. Good to have you in, our man in Canada. Nice to have you joining once again, as every single week. We've got... you work with Al? No. Well, do I work with any Als? It's kind of funny. No. And you know what? Given how much work we work with AI, it would be incredibly confusing if someone was called Al, because whenever I see the word Al, I assume that it is AI. So that is a problem. But yeah, nice to see everybody saying hello to each other. Shubhas, you finally made it. Good to see you in here. Hope you enjoy. I hope you're making coffee and hope that it is all warmed up. We're going to jump into the topics in just a second. I've got to accelerate. Yeah, Burger King's... I don't know what that means. That's okay. But yes, I love AI, and I hope it remembers how much I love it when it takes over. Chris J, long time no see. Good to see you in the chat, man. Hope you're doing well. Where are you based? Where'd my voice go? Where are you based around nowadays? You used to be like in the Middle East, right? But you're based in Japan now? I don't know. I might be just little bits and pieces over the years, but great to see you, Chris. Ida in from Denmark. Nice to see you. Mac OS is good. It's a nice offshoot of BSD. I don't know what BSD is. It's my first time using Mac OS Tahoma. The biggest disappointment is that I'm using a Mac, but I'm still using Camo to capture my iPhone because continuity camera doesn't work on Tahoe with a Mac Mini, which was like, honestly, the feature I was most looking forward to is being able to use my iPhone just as a webcam native with the operating system, and I don't get why that doesn't work. I'm also incredibly frustrated that the control key and the arrow and the Windows key naturally don't work, and I have to hit a different key for copy-paste, which I have to develop muscle memory for, but I must admit, I kind of like a lot of other things about this. The video, which I edited on running, I edited in iMovie, which I use on my iPad, but I did it in Mac OS, and I liked it, so yeah. Anyway, anyone else here accelerating to say hello to everybody? We got Ben Duncan. Hey, great to see you. By the way, lots of people rocking in from overseas at the moment. I think I'm going to be catching up with some friends this week who have been flying in, which is great to see. DJ Sunny forever rules. Yes, he does. Wow, so many comments in here. Scrabblebees. Don't forget, we rule. I do appreciate it. Remember, you don't have to donate, but I do appreciate it, and thank you very much, Scrabblebees. Your like and your participation in the way that you've been doing is good, as well as your stories. Toot toot whoop whoop. That is a thing. Glad that you're enjoying the mixes, to Dom, and Black Tengu made it in here. Great to see. The Wi-Fi decided not to work. Believe me, I know all about it. Try setting up with a new computer. As I am doing. That is the Chris J's in Alaska. Wow. Okay. Well, there's a place that is probably colder than where I am. So glad that you could do that. And Kerberos Tenshi, did I say? I'm pretty sure I said hello to Kerberos Tenshi, but if I didn't, Kerberos Tenshi, hello. And everybody else, if I haven't said hello, if you're just lurking or whatever, do say hello. Let's get into, that's what they say. Once you go Mac, you never go back. Yeah. For some reason, I'm remembering the movie Airplane at the moment, but that is a thing. Okay, let's dive in. We've got lots of topics today. I'm sure we're going to fill the time, and we're going to have fun with the after party right after this. Hopefully, the setup will be easier as well. But there we go. Apparently, I've been thinking about getting. I love the idea of having regular glasses with like futuristic displays inside them, so I don't have to bend down and look at my watch everywhere. That I could wear out running or whatever. Just basically having a smartphone or a computer screen on access, hidden, discreetly inside regular glasses. This is the feature I'm waiting for. Given Apple's like disasters with AI, I don't know if they're ever going to get them out. So I'm starting to think, hey, if Apple's never going to come out with these, maybe Meta will have them. Maybe I need to, get some of those Meta glasses. But no, they had to make it weird, just like everything else. It is funny because OpenAI, of course, came out with ads. I think just on their free tier. I pay for OpenAI, so hopefully I won't get their sorts of results. But certainly when you think of the internet age and the term enshittification before that became a word, ads made everything so much worse. I mean, Facebook literally, like the whole movie The Social Network, the only thing that Zuckerberg knew, like the good guy in the movie The Social Network, the Brazilian guy, was the guy who wanted to put ads onto Facebook. And Zuckerberg, the arsehole, was like, no, you ruined my business. And it turned out that Zuckerberg was the good guy. I mean, there was a time when Facebook was actually not creepy and horrible, and you weren't the product, and it was fun. And all of that ended when they started doing ads, and they became this horrible, ad machine that commoditized the data of the people who use it. Google as well, obviously. The way that the ads, you can't find the search results. I mean, what use is Google if you can't search for anything? And by the way, the interesting side quest as well on this. Google lately, or YouTube in particular, I have noticed is putting, they're doing like auto AI-based dubs into these. Unfortunately, on the longer and less popular videos like this, the dubs are not available. On shorter videos, even including for my old ones, in something that sounds kind of like my voice, you can hear me in like 20 languages right now, as well as the auto-generated captions and everything. It's pretty decent quality, actually. I think it's actually, I love the idea of it both for accessibility and for just language learning and stuff like that. It's really cool. But yeah, these sort of features. So for me, I'm thinking I want to go searching for Spanish videos and stuff like that, or videos with the Spanish audio tracks. But Google doesn't let you search for, you know, videos with particular languages or settings and stuff like that, which is like they're supposed to be a search company, but you can't find the search results in the search results because of all the sponsored results. And, you know, all their Google services, you can't even search in them. So what is even the purpose of Google? But Meta as well. Meta had to go and take something that was cool, like Facebook itself used to be, and ruin it by making it weird and creepy. Now the cool set of smart glasses as well. And maybe this is actually the future. Maybe this is the Minority Report future, that you're going to walk around and see the personal information and profiles of everybody that you look at. But do you even want to? Like, no, stop that. I mean, no, please. They made something cool that I was considering buying, and now I'm like, oh, not only do I not want to buy it, but I think they're going to ruin the other better products for everybody. So that is a thing. Oh, glad to hear that the weather is warm in India and the snow melted. That's pretty good. Yeah, the auto-translate features are pretty good. I actually quite like it. I mean, you know, the new versions have come out better. With the audio dubbing, it's been horrible. It's often quite wrong. Dubs over people who speak English in their videos but have foreign-based accounts, and many old issues. I found it's like Google Translate. It used to be garbage, but the quality of it is improving. You know, I've been surprised at its ability to replicate voices and so on. And pleasantly surprised at the quality, which you know is going to get better. But yeah, there again, we'll have to see. Hey, Novolitas, nice to have you in here. Don't recognize the handle name, so I do appreciate you coming in and saying hello, and for joining. It's great to have you in here, and thank you for saying hello. One thing, I don't know if anybody here is impacted. I mean, this would be an awkward class action lawsuit, but apparently Tenga, the company that makes, the Japanese company, which makes, you see them at the airports, they've always got a big stand of all the, mainly, I think it's only male masturbation stuff, basically rubber or plastic sort of, you know, toy type things. Apparently, a hacker has stolen customer information. I don't know how much customer information there is to steal from a masturbation aid maker. I mean, it is something as well that, you know, Japan is a country where this is relatively mainstream. You do see these things in regular, you know, every pharmacy has a Tenga stand here. You know, not beside the condoms and the contraceptives, there are Tengas. And, you know, if you are preferring to play video games instead of going out on dates, if you're having a Valentine's Day for one, well, you can make it a good one with Tenga. But it did spark, when I was growing up in New Zealand, and I think it's a Commonwealth thing, that you know, a really common insult that you use for people is you call them a wanker. And it's funny when I met Americans and they're like, what's a wanker? When I was in Japan, I'd explain this to people, and I must admit, in Japan as well, there's no derogatory term. So, you know, and I remember I actually asked, like, I said, oh, he's being a wanker. And someone asked, what does that mean? And I said, well, it's a person who masturbates. And the American person asked me, who doesn't? And what's wrong with that? And I was like, I don't know. It is kind of funny how, I don't know how that's even, honestly, how is that even an insult, really? But the expression probably that Butcher from The Boys would say in his terrible New Zealand impersonation of a Cockney accent would be, right, which one of you wankers stole all the data on our wankers? And it would sound as terrible as that. But the thing is, yeah, it is funny as well. I think I saw not Key and Peele, another comedian duo where they're talking about once how you know, Eskimos have like, you know, 100 words for snow, and British people have 200 words for wankers. But yeah, apparently Japan, they just get on with it. It's normal business, and like every other normal business in Japan, they've been hacked. This did cause actually a deeper thought for me. This is actually a very important topic here. Black Mirror did an episode. I think I've talked about this so many times, of this idea of the AI future, when people could generate deep fakes and what this would result in. Like, you know, in the old days, people would cut out like photos from magazines and put them on the bodies of, put faces of people from a photograph on a magazine or whatever, and splice. And there was this fear that when you can do that with video and AI in the future, the whole theme of The Running Man, right? When you can generate a fake video, how this is going to be a huge social problem. Because I think if you had asked somebody 30 years ago what the greatest fear, like the worst thing that technology could possibly do, it would be generating deep fake porn. And this has become a real problem. And not just that, also being outed, right? Having a video, the sex tape. There was a time, even 20 years ago, where both the worst thing and in some ways the best thing that could happen to a celebrity was to have a sex tape come out. And that we sort of live in an age now where I think I've heard people describe, I remember reading an article about this 40 years ago where someone said in the future, these things, when they're going to be that easy to make, when you get sent a video of someone making a deep fake porn of you, you're just going to put it in the spam just like other flyers, because the stuff will be so abundant and people will be so used to like treating it like trash that no one's going to give it a second thought, and they'll toss it out just like they would like spam, like a junk mail, for example. I think that's sort of right. We're in an age now both where, monetizing, starting up an OnlyFans and monetizing yourself for sex, as well as the ability of AI to generate stuff. I think the whole outlook on this sort of thing, this whole idea that you could be caught masturbating, which I remember was an episode of Black Mirror where a kid was manipulated, was blackmailed into doing progressive different sort of crimes, all starting from someone hacking the webcam and doing that, and leading into this sort of huge, all these people getting their lives ruined. And I think that the premise of that really falls down when something becomes sort of so common and easy to do. I think in a way the impact of this sort of thing, finding out that your name was in the Tenga release, which no pun intended, I don't know that that's quite the life ruining event now. The shameful, oh my God, yes, I bought something from Tenga. Would that really, I think 30 years ago that would have been considered among the most, embarrassing things that could happen. I don't think anyone cares. Losing credit card information, having someone go and buy more useful things, that would be a problem. But the idea of being outed in any way, I think culture's moved on in a way, and I think it's a good thing that we're not so obsessed with the shame associated with this sort of thing, which even like when I met Americans who it turns out don't even have this word as an insult, it's like, they're like, why is that an insult? And I'm like, oh yeah. And coming from Americans, which you always think of as being more puritanical than British people and Commonwealth people, generally speaking, I think that was a good point. So, while it certainly Tenga getting hacked is a problem, I actually think we're going into an age where at least the fear, associated with this sort of thing is probably different now. Anyway, deep philosophical thoughts on masturbating. We are halfway through the show. I better speed things up. But there we go. You don't think that franchises such as Marvel will be relevant in the near future? It's so easy to produce mindless superhero movies now. I kind of agree. And honestly, I can't get into the Marvel movies. There is a thing where I grew up loving Star Wars and special effects movies, but like the Avengers movies and I can't even keep up with the Marvel movies. But when it goes into nothing but non-stop explosions and CG, I fall asleep. It actually becomes such an overstimulation in a way. There's no plot, there's no story. It's literally just watching a fireworks show that gets kind of boring after a while. So even when they were spending billions on these special effects, it was already switching me off. And the fact that you can now do that for a few dollars or a few hundred liters of water, positive and negative. Oh, and coming back on the AI thing, the promo reels for Seedance 2, this Chinese model, which can pretty much generate a video of anything that you like with amazing, like totally realistic, next level, full CG, everything. I think you're sort of right. What I hope is that it's going to force the studios to go back to actually producing good stories. That's it. That's right. If they produce the same sort of just basic CG crap, cheaper, they're not going to be able to compete with the AI stuff. So they've got to differentiate themselves by having quality of stories. So hopefully it will push them, but we'll see. Japan Monomura asking, wanker or prick is the best insult? Well, I don't know. I don't know if times have changed. I think wanker is always considered more intense, is more of a put down, although it really makes no sort of logical sense. So there we go. But anyway, I'm always delusionally optimistic, and I do think that, yes, when you have just simple spectacle fireworks shows of CG devalued, or at least made so easy, this YouTube channel could easily be, using something like Seedance 2, I could probably make this channel look more spectacular than an Avengers movie, and you'd be bored out of your mind. And the hope is that will force people to actually focus on the content itself, but we'll see. We can live in hope. Sheep-related questions from Dan H. I have to stop and take a moment for this. There is a sheep-related question. I've noticed Australia's been pushing their wool. Where I have noticed it being mentioned more on high-end clothing. How would you compare it to New Zealand merino? When I was in grade 3, when I was 8 years old, and my father was stationed in Australia, my New Zealand Army father, who taught me that everything in New Zealand is the same as in Australia, only it's slightly better in New Zealand. Most importantly, and most of all, our sheep. Our sheep are actually, one thing that really shocks me when I go back to New Zealand now, this is a major detour here. We used to be proud that we used to have 150 million sheep and 3 million people, that our sheep to person ratio was the highest of any country in the world, even though some countries like Australia had more sheep than us. And I think Australia had the most sheep of any, and the Aussies would say, we have the most sheep of any country in the world. And we would say, yes, but our sheep to people ratio was higher. And I do remember being in third grade class in Australia, and my Australian teacher reading out the government education syllabus, saying that the merino wool from Tasmania and from the south of Australia is the finest grade merino in the wool in the world. And I raised my hand immediately and said, that can't be true. And I wouldn't let it go. He was trying to be a diplomat and say, well, New Zealand has very good merino as well, but the syllabus here, you should remember that Tasmania, we have the finest grade merino wool in the world. I'm like, no, that's just not true. I was 8 years old. I knew nothing other than there's no way that Australian wool could in any way be better than New Zealand wool, and I refused to surrender. I worried I might not be allowed back into New Zealand, and I carried on the argument for longer than was really appropriate. So yeah, and my mum used to actually, who is Australian, worked for the New Zealand Wool Board. She used to do, she was actually very good at knitting and did designs and so on that they would publish for knitting. The thing is, I go back to New Zealand now, and because the farming's become more intensive, and it's much more profitable to do dairy farming. And so, yeah, you don't see as many sheep, which is sad. And you see a lot more dairy farming, which uses a lot more nitrates, which causes a lot more pollution, which means that clean green New Zealand, you can't swim in any of the rivers anymore. And half of the beaches are also polluted from runoff from these cow farms. Where that didn't used to be the case, because sheep are pretty, low intensity, relatively eco-friendly farming, at least in comparison to dairy farming. But New Zealand's gone fully dairy, and New Zealanders comment how the country has declined. And if you're feeling depressed at the decline in our, sheep to person ratio, which it definitely has, so it's perfectly possible that Australia actually has very fine grade merino wool. I think we always do okay, but yeah, there we go. Space travel. Wait, did someone talk about space travel? Then we're gonna have to end the whole show here. Wait a minute. Stories to come back. We got definitely propaganda, and everything will be easier to do. Questions of sheep or butter will always be addressed here. I see it. Nobody asked about space travel, but that's right. I'm ready to talk about that as well. Elon Musk, he finally figured out the moon was the best place to go, where Bezos was aiming for all along. And Mars is good. I still think they should be going to Venus. You didn't even ask for this. I'll stop. We'll continue. NEC. Japan-American cooperation. NEC has apparently sold its facial recognition technology to ICE. So don't say that Japan doesn't do anything for you, America. Wow, so many topics I don't want to talk about there. But yes, NEC actually did the facial recognition system for the Olympics. I thought that actually it got cancelled. It was hugely, cost overruns were incredible. And the digital minister, I think, did he have to resign because of this? But he talked about using gangster tactics to force them to drop their prices because things went out of control. Their system had a really bad rap with the Olympics. Also, NEC was probably not using, I think they were using their own mainframe sort of systems for that. I don't know. I don't think they were using actual sort of modern tech. But there again, like as Japan does, very good at developing their own systems. And I guess so many companies in America are just afraid of being I'm surprised, honestly, it wasn't Palantir that got that contract. But yeah, America's a hot mess. But hey, if you need stuff, Japan will sell it to you. This is kind of crazy. Apparently Japan, we've opened visa centers all over Russia, Japan has, because demand from Russians has surged. Russians want to come to Japan. And, oh, no, I don't know how to change the zoom on the page because it's a Mac. I can't hit the control button. What if I hold the command button and I scroll? It doesn't do anything. Oh, what am I supposed to do? Zoom. Okay, let's just do it from here. So there were like 133,000 applicants for visas from Russia in 2025. And I swear, please, Japan, check their suitcases for green clothing, because all of those Russian tourists to Crimea, they put on their green clothes and they took the place over. I mean, I'm all for everybody being friends. But yeah, apparently tourists visiting Russia has sharply spiked, 195,000 last year. And while there's nothing that I would like more than good person-to-person ties, Russia is scary, and they take advantage of this stuff. They've had little green men popping up, crossing into Estonia, testing out the borders there. This is how they got, big chunks of Ukraine. And I don't know. All for tourism, but that is a thing. This is a story I wasn't going to post, but apparently a security guard working at a factory stole the toilet. A contractor, a 75-year-old contractor, he stole the toilet, and he admitted that he stole the toilet and that he had taken it home and that he had been using it. Apparently they caught him, not so much red-handed, but yeah, they caught him. And apparently however, he didn't remove the water tank, but someone else removed the water tank. And so he pointed out at the end that he did steal the toilet, but he didn't steal the water tank, which I think could be the basis for a Japanese cover of the song I Shot the Sheriff. But it's I stole the toilet, but not the water tank. Certainly, I think I've made my thoughts on Japanese toilets here clear. That I could totally understand if he wanted to steal the heated seat, but it sounds like he stole more than the seat. But who stole the water tank and why? I mean, that part doesn't even make sense. I don't really understand what's going on here, but Japanese toilets are awesome, and there's not many countries in the world where I could logically understand stealing a toilet, but Japan, it does kind of make sense. So there we go. I hear we're talking about space, but there I am not going to get distracted by that. Japan and Britain and Italy are continuing. They are sticking to the plan that they're going to build a probably fourth, not a fifth generation fighter jet, but they're going to build a fighter, their version of the F-16, F-35, probably in between, a cool fighter jet. And they got the Italians on board, they got the Brits on board, and they got the Japanese on board. With the right combination of these three countries, I think that could be an awesome, high-performance, cool, reliable, brutal weapon of war that you could sell lots, and it would be great for all three countries, provided, of course, they all provide the stereotypes all go in the right direction. You want the Italian performance, you want the Japanese reliability, and the British just willingness to butt the head of anybody and start fights. Basically, you want the aggression of the British Empire, the speed and performance of the Italians, and the Japanese reliability. You probably don't want the Italian reliability. My father will tell you the best car he ever owned was an Alfa Alfetta. Best car he ever owned when it was running, but it was not running for about half the time that he owned it. That was that's something you hear about a lot of those sort of cars. You certainly don't want it to have British styling. And Japanese performance, probably actually not that bad. But yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, I don't think Japan could really screw that much up. But yeah, so long as they get the right combination of those contractors, I could see this being a raging success, and I hope that they build it. I watched 2 YouTube videos today, which made me think about some things. Victor was reminiscing about stories of women accidentally and mistakenly falling in love with him. It is worth watching. Go over to Give Me a Break Man, where he tells these stories as he drives about women who, through him being, a supportive English teacher, basically, women throwing their underwear at him by the sounds of it. He's a complete magnet of sorts, but Victor, as Victor does, he goes onto side tracks, which isn't something I could do. I can't really understand the chasing rabbits thing the way that Victor does it. He didn't get down into a sidetrack. Well, he mentioned that he used to have a boss who was very proud of his VHS pornography collection. This is back in the day, of course. And he pointed out that because Japanese porn is mosaic, you can't actually see the actual action of what's going on. He thinks that this is why they have long sections in the start of the video where they'll introduce the performer, the woman, and they'll have these long sort of interview segments at the start, which he said actually makes Japanese porn excellent for learning Japanese. I was standing at a Family Mart. I just gotten my cafe latte. I was listening to this as I was waiting for it to pour my latte, and it came out, and I pretty much I didn't quite spit my latte out in the middle of the Family Mart, but it was something pretty close to that anyway. While I could again talk all day about the virtues and the pros and cons of Japanese porn, I've never heard anyone, let alone an English teacher, recommend it as a way of learning Japanese. But there again, I mean, who can you? Who knows? It could possibly work. Another video I watched today was kind of interesting. I don't know if anyone here, if you watch this channel, you could watch. You could also watch the YouTube channel Small Talk Japan, which is a bit like this channel. They're a little bit better organized. They've got a nice studio. They're down in Kagoshima, I think, down in the far south of Japan. And they've got another long-term guy there who, he covers Japanese news and politics a bit like this, although they're a bit more disciplined and structured. And I like to watch it. They often put videos out on a Saturday, I think, or on a Friday. And yeah, I like to watch it just like I like to watch the Langley Esquire videos at Japan Expert Insights, because it gives me an idea of some topics. What are some big topics going on in Japan, and what am I missing? And what's their take? It's interesting to hear another foreigner take. I did notice around this election, I've never talked, I don't like to talk, I would say, if you like this, you probably like them, and you should go check out the channel, Small Talk Japan. Recommended. It's high quality content. It's thoughtful and well made. The main presenter on that channel, however, he ahead of this election, he was very disturbed at the fact that immigration was being made a major topic in the election. I said myself that I was a little bit disturbed that, in any given election, they don't talk about policies to begin with. And I was just sitting here hoping that Senpai does not notice us, and that Japan just manages to keep having elections where immigration is never actually discussed. Because in any country, anywhere around the world, when immigration becomes a political debate topic, the folks who say, hey, let's just get rid of all the foreigners, get votes, right? They win the stupid vote. It's something where when you're just trying to appeal for votes, being tougher and extreme on immigration is a winning position, even when it doesn't make sense. And this is where Japan's always threaded the needle kind of cleverly, where folks like Shinzo Abe would both rhetorically say that we don't need foreigners, while he also oversaw a huge liberalization of immigration in Japan. And, and he could do this because it was never really one of the 2 or 3 topics being, politically debated. So he didn't actually have to, he could leave the policies up to the people who knew what was best for Japan, which was to have more workers, while still being someone who would express views that were different to this. And this was something where I would point out where people would say, oh, Abe wants to start World War III and he hates foreigners. I'll say, well, maybe he does, but, for a guy who hates foreigners, he's overseen a government that's been very, open towards foreigners. And as a protege of Abe, I always thought, well, Takaichi's probably using the same playbook. And she is, and her rhetoric focusing on foreigners in this election was clearly, basically that the LDP was spooked, that Sanseito was clearly taking away conservative votes from the LDP. And so she needed to make sure that those people who were, attracted to the anti-immigration message of Sanseito would go and would stick with her party. And she succeeded at that. However, it resulted in her proposing, not just proposing as well, but even ahead of the election, saying that we're going to, do things, for example, to restrict access to medical care. We're going to increase taxation, including prior payment of taxation. We're going to restrict visa entry and make it harder to get visas, all this sort of thing. And they didn't say those specific policies. They were doing those specific policies. But in the election, they just said, yes, we're just going to be tougher on badly behaved foreigners. And that was pretty much as the policy debate went. The host of Small Talk Japan, he was really disturbed by seeing this anti-foreigner sentiment coming out. And perhaps it was something that he was also seeing around him more down in Kagoshima, Kyushu. I love Kyushu. They are both the nicest people in Japan and the most racist people in Japan. And I like to joke that while they are racist down there, they're more racist towards each other and other Japanese people than they are to foreigners. It's the old joke, because there's so many ways that Japanese, just out of boredom and not having anyone to discriminate against, just invent ways to discriminate. And it's kind of the culture down there, because they know what everybody's great-great-great-great-grandfather did in every neighborhood down in Kyushu. Not that I've been to Kagoshima, but I've been to Fukuoka. And as far as I understand, everything as you go further south just gets more extreme like that. So I don't know. And certainly when you hear all the crazy, drooling racists coming out in the news and the Sanseito supporters, there've definitely been more of those stories coming out of Kyushu than other places. And maybe this is why he actually did a special show where he just said why this is just such a terrible thing and why Takaichi is like the end of the world. So the main topic on his show this week was how Takaichi won the election in a landslide and how very upset and angry he is with the Japanese people. And I've already given my take on this. I think it was completely rational, both for Takaichi to call the election because she had a minority government and, she was taking advantage of a boost in popularity, which had a chance to reinforce her position, which was pretty fragile within the government. And she was pretty smart on how to campaign. And I think that she's also smart enough to separate, her actual program from some of the rhetoric that she uses. But she also recognizes that, people are paying a lot of attention to immigration and want to see increased toughness, and she's responding to that. And I don't like that. But I don't think that she's I think it's kind of understandable, and I think that the very worst things that are happening in Japan are far more reasonable. The one thing where I continue to have faith in Japan, even if there's increasing xenophobia and restrictions on immigration, is that Japan is still fundamentally a rule-abiding society. I mean, okay, plenty of exceptions to that, but I think that, when they make rules for immigration and so on, they are still going to do it by the book. I've seen much more arbitrary treatment of immigrants in New Zealand than I've seen here. And when I hear about, when you compare the nastiness of immigration debates and the mistreatment of immigrants that you see in other places, Japan is still, way on the nice end of things. That said, if you ever don't follow the rules or you actually make trouble, get into trouble here, get into a situation where you're being deported, I don't know that the immigration detention system here probably has a higher death for detainee rate than ICE does. It's pretty awful. You don't want to ever get into there. You don't want to ever break the rules here, but if you follow the rules, it's pretty nice. So I'm like, I don't think it's the end of the world, per se. I think it's actually quite understandable, and I can even find lots of ways to be optimistic about Takaichi as a leader in comparison to all the other leaders that we've had. But he basically spent the last episode of Small Talk Japan, where he got a Japanese co-host in, and he basically just abused her for, she admitted, she said, yes, I voted for Sanae Takaichi, and everybody in Japan did, and she won. And he was like, how dare you? And he basically laid into her and said he just wants her to admit that she did it out of emotion and that, she's making that the whole country's becoming racist and you should just admit it. And the Japanese co-host was like, I don't know why I'm here. And I was watching it. I was like, yeah, I don't know why you're here either. Why he took it really badly. So if you want to watch somebody taking the election result much more badly than I am, watch that. Generally, it's a very good show, but I thought this one, he actually went way too far. My take. Langley Esquire, they are actually going to do a special thing this week, especially talking about the impact of the election on immigration, and certainly it's going to make things a lot harder. And long term, I mean, I don't know if they start targeting permanent residents like myself and making it, not so desirable to be here, then they'll lose these people. And these people right now, both short-term workers and long-term residents, are supporting Japan. And I think the Japanese government, most of the government understands that. But if they throw that away for politics, which I don't think that the current government's going to do. But yeah, he was very, very upset, and he was taking it all out on his co-host, which I thought was kind of shitty, honestly. It was kind of honestly difficult to watch. But that said, go subscribe and like, because I think it is actually a good channel. And so that is the thing. Anyway, that's right. Kagoshima is nice, although the smoke can be rather harsh from Sakurajima, from the volcano, but people are friendly. They are definitely friendly down there. And the volcano, I mean, maybe they're all like the volcano. They just occasionally do, I don't know, but including the host. But yeah, that said, on the positives, Mainichi Shimbun is out there doing more stories covering, demonstrating both how, while the political flavor of the month is to beat up on immigrants at the moment, they're publishing articles showing how the immigrants are keeping these convenience stores in small towns alive, and how, seriously the training is done of those foreign employees and how seriously they take it. So that is a good thing to see. Right now in Tokyo, by the way, you might be seeing cherry blossoms in a lot of places, including some parks that just seem to be full of cherry blossoms. If you have seen those and you're thinking, wow, cherry blossoms, those are not cherry blossoms. Those are plum blossoms. You don't get cherry blossoms until the end of March, but what you're getting come out right now is plum blossoms. Not as celebrated as cherry blossoms, mainly because they come out when it's still winter, and it's cold enough doing hanami for cherry blossoms. But that said, they do look very nice. There's a couple near my house, and there are some parts of Tokyo, including this park in Otaku, which has like a whole big park at the moment of like hundreds of ikegami. It's the Ikegami neighborhood in Ota Ward, and apparently they have a huge plum tree. So you can do like cherry blossom viewing, but it's of plum trees. So that's something looks like it'll be pretty good to go for. Checking the time, we've got 5 minutes to go. So let's go into Overdrive. Is that guy the editor for Gaijin Bot? I had no idea. Is that the guy? I don't know, but okay. Well, that would explain why the show is well done. Yeah, I thought he lost his shit a little bit too much. He reminded me a little bit of Jake Adelstein being really anti-Abe. Even when Abe was doing the opposite of what he said he was going to do, he was still no, but yes. Anyway, we've got Mainichi Shimbun lamenting. They've been very against the whole election result with Takaichi winning by a landslide, saying that gender parity has been lost in the lower house poll. To be clear, the representation of women in parliament dropped from like 18% to 14%, to which Mainichi frames as that gender parity has been lost. You have to have parity in order to lose it. There's never been gender parity in parliament in Japan. And if you think that this is the government being full of men and the opposition being full of women, no, the liberal opposition are just as bad as the LDP, largely. Only, I think, ironically, I think I mentioned this last week, the communists have the second highest representation of women. The number one party for representation of women, Sanseito, the racists. So, I must say, it still reminds me of doing political science in New Zealand, and, total respect for my feminist friends in my law and political science classes. But when they would start saying how, politics with more women would be more enlightened and more liberal and more socially aware and whatever, because of the traditional, power relationships in society in which women are placed in a position of, disadvantage, and that they're being aware of people in similar positions and so on. No, that's you can speculate that would be an outcome of that, but that assumption is disproven so often when by real world cases. And that's a whole deep rabbit hole as well, as to why women are always not as liberal as feminists expect and hope they will be. Not always, by the way, but this also happens. Anyway, we're going to keep going. Japan's foreign workforce has risen to 2.6 million people. What have we got here? China says the Taiwanese people supporting Takaichi for not wanting PRC to invade them makes them an embarrassment to Chinese people. To which I think surely having a Japanese prime minister more interested in protecting the lives of Chinese people than China, surely that's the embarrassment. But there we go. China's gone on a tear criticizing Takaichi since she won the election, saying that, yes, she's going to destabilize security in Southeast Asia because she is against China invading everybody. Very persuasive arguments. Oh, God, I hate this. I hate this so much. Takaichi has suggested this week, again, she wants to do some tax relief. She wants to reduce the sales tax, which some people are pointing out. She can't increase welfare spending and defense spending while cutting sales tax at the same time. She suggested we could tax religions. I agree. I agree with this so much. So many of these religions in Japan, I mean, Komeito basically is a political party of Soka Gakkai whose main purpose is just to make sure, they exist in politics to make sure that using money from the religion to make sure that that religion never has to pay taxes. And same with all these other cults, like the Unification Church was paying bribes to the LDP politicians. It's all to protect their position where they get to collect all these donations and not have to pay tax on any of it. They're business enterprises. And yes, while after World War II, the tax-free status of religion in Japan was imposed by the Americans to prevent, state-imposed religious controls like Japan had during World War II. And while that made some sense, the idea that, you can't tax religions, no, in Japan, these are abusive, money-raising, wealthy cults. And the idea that they don't get to pay tax for these, you got the Unification Church, you have Aum Shinrikyo, you just by making up any sort of religion, you don't have to pay tax. And she's saying, yeah, if we charge them for tax, we can make up for my tax cuts. Oh, I hate agreeing with her. I disagree with so many of her politics, but I understand why she was elected, and it's because that makes sense. I mean, I hope that she does it, but we'll see. Oh, God. This is another one I wanted to talk about. How much time do we have? We have 60 seconds. We'll be fine. It's kind of funny how an article here in Diamond talking about how Americans are happy just to wear corporate logos on their clothes walking to and from work. And this is definitely true. You go to America. When I first worked in Deloitte, when I first got to Japan, we went for training in America. And as prizes and quizzes, they were handing out corporate swag, like Deloitte branded T-shirts and socks. And I remember seeing my Japanese university graduate co-workers receiving these prizes, mortified. Why would anybody ever walk around in the logo of their company? The idea that people think that they work somewhere cool and that they like their jobs doesn't really exist in Japan. There's this image that Japanese are self-sacrificing, working to death for the pride of the team of the company. But no, they do it because they have to. And wearing a shirt's kind of getting into the religious cult and should be taxed like a company kind of territory. So yeah, I kind of learned from that experience how Japanese do not look at corporate swag. And even when I get corporate swag in America and I think that's cool, I come back to Japan, I'm like, yeah, I'm not putting that on. But yeah, in fact, I have some things here that strictly go straight to becoming pajamas. And honestly, I probably throw them away a little bit after that. But yes, LDP won in a landslide. The race has still got a bunch of seats. So that is a thing that they got. And yeah, racism. That's the show. And we finished on time. We did it. Eric Bailey, 6779. Glad that you made it in here, and I'm glad that we can now start the show. However, I am now ending the show. But there we go. Hyperdrive or warp drive. That is a thing. You're not having a stroke. Yes, YouTube changed the naming conventions on the labels here. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you also like the AI clips, which I've been posting. I've been trying some software of my own that I actually developed, a dubbing piece of software, which is not as good as the Google one. and it's kind of crap, but I wanted to try it out just for kicks. So I was using some clips from the weekly show, and I might do that again this week. It was a lot of fun putting some of the highlights from the previous shows into shorts. I don't know if it'll have any effect on the growth of the channel, but it's a lot of fun. So I'll probably do that this week as well, so look out for those. Thank you everybody for supporting. Remember to like the video, I do appreciate it. Remember, I don't monetize these videos, so your likes are the only way that the algorithm knows I exist. And yeah, if you want to come back next week, come back next week. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Strava, Facebook. Honestly, I don't really post on Facebook, but I'm there. Blue Sky, all that stuff. And if you want some music, come and join me where you guys get to pick the tracks as I set up to DJ a set next on Tokyo Digital Crew After Party. And have a good week, everybody. This show is too short. It says Japan One or More. It's an hour. It's an hour. But yes, I could go on forever. You could see I could literally do this for 4 or 5 hours. I could have even fewer subscribers, but we'll make do. Anyway, join me for the after party. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you for supporting. I'll see you later. Boom. Peace. Ending the stream.